So today we're going to watch a video not only showing a tour of Giga Shanghai and explaining how they've achieved such efficiency that they're now able to see a car come off its production line every 30 seconds, but we're also going to see interviews of experts who explain Tesla's economic impact to China and how both parties benefit from each other. This is a really special treat, and I guarantee you, you will learn and see a lot that you haven't seen before. We've got Brian White joining us. He is a host of his own YouTube channel called MyTeslaWeekend, and I'm telling you, there isn't anybody else out there that I know of that is such an expert in these factories and the plants and the gigafactories and the production and so forth. He is one of the best. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining me.
Well, and you also have me on because I know a lot about the Chinese market and China generally, so that's also great. And this is a good one. This is a great topic. So let's get into it.
That's because you actually lived in China, which few of us have, and I've been picking your brain about what's going on in China. But this is a fantastic video, very recently done, and it's a fantastic way for us to see what's actually happening inside the four walls. But they also include interviews of experts to talk about how Tesla has changed the market in China. So we're going to learn more about the efficiency behind Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory. It just marked their 2 millionth electric vehicles 13 months after the counter turned 1 million. So let's go ahead and watch a clip. I'll play this to about 2 minutes long, and then we'll talk about it and talk about some of the incredible things that they're going to show us here. So let's go do that.
In just 40 seconds, or the time it takes to merely park a car. And it all happens right here at its Gigafactory Shanghai, right behind me. So how is everything possible? Today, let's go and find out.
Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory marked the projection of its 2 millionth electric vehicle, just 13 months after the counter turned 1 million. And to learn the secret behind the company's remarkable efficiency, the staff at Tesla generously agreed to give me a tour of the factory floor. Before they did, however, they told me that cost optimization was one key factor, and another was the incorporation of all the super smart automated equipment.
Now, at this area of the factory, you can barely see any staff, right? That is because the majority of the production process here are completed by robotic arms, as you can see behind me. And all of them are also connected to one cloud system that registers every single movement of the robotic arms and tools. And employees will oversee the whole process to make sure that everything is assembled as it should be.
And according to the staff here, the availability of impressive production ramp can be partly attributed to its location in Shanghai's pilot free trade zone.
It's the Lingang free trade zone that they're operating in, which gives them the ability to run a very efficient business for selling internationally without having to deal with a lot of customs. The Shanghai environment, it is an automotive hub for China. It already has a very mature logistics and infrastructure for the automotive industry supply chain. So I think, location here is really a perfect location.
It is all about location when a company must choose where to put its business premises. And Tesla certainly seems to have that down to a fine art. At Shanghai, everything the factory needs is virtually at its fingertips.
As a wholly foreign-owned project, the team at Tesla Shanghai is 99.9% Chinese, and their supply chain is also over 95% localized, which means that over 95% of all the parts in the whole factory come from local suppliers.
Meanwhile,
all right, so Brian, wow, lots of to unpack there. She said that everything's automated. You barely see any employees. You talked about being in a free trade zone. All the suppliers are 99.9% Chinese, and they're very local. What did you pick out from that little clip there?
Those just make me excited. Every time I see them, the Chinese manufacturing ability is just plain second to none. You can't underestimate the value of having everything right next door, all your suppliers in the same city or at least in the same region. And it means if there's a little change that needs to happen to the glass, they can go across to the other side of town and get it fixed today. They don't have to wait 6 months for it to get sorted out while people are in different time zones or even just different states. So that's a big one. But the fact that the port is right there, and in drone shots, you'll see the The ocean is right there, the sea, and they're doing it right. Now I couldn't quite tell if she said 30 seconds or 40 seconds, but in any case, it's extremely fast and it makes everything work. One thing that I did want to point out is when they were saying that they were in a free trade zone, basically what that means is that when parts come in and out, they're not subject to the same kind of taxation as if where every single part needs to be accounted for. You can bring some parts in, put them in a car, and then deal with it. And it simplifies getting goods in and out. So it's a mechanism that's in use in a lot of countries now. And China was one of the first to really push forward with it. They had them already. That whole Pudong district where the factory is located was already a well-established free trade zone 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's a perfect. It seems to be so efficient. Things are going really well. So one of the things I wanted to point out here was this point where she said, you're right. She did say 40 seconds. The production line for every car coming out of the factory is 40 seconds. But we just heard just a couple days ago, the vice president of external affairs for Tesla, Grace Tao, say that it's now every 30 seconds. She did say 40, but it's now 30 seconds, which is even crazier. But this point here, I wanted to highlight when she said that you can barely see any staff in the production line. Almost all of the steps in the production process are completed using advanced robotics. They're all connected to one cloud system that registers every single movement of the robotic arms and tools, and the employees are there to oversee the process, ensuring that everything is assembled as it should be. The other thing that Grace Tao talked about, just leaked the information just a few days ago, was that the welding part, the segment of welding, is 100% automated as well too. So they're really moving to just 100% automation. What's your thoughts about that, where the employees are just now watching everything as it happens automatically?
It's so much better for quality control. It's so much better for the human psyche. Monotonous, repetitive tasks will drive you crazy. I've had jobs like that in factories and metal fabrication shops, which were mind-numbingly boring. And when your brain gets too idle, you make mistakes. So with this, what you're able to do is robots don't get tired. They don't get bored. And if you've got a welder that's automated, you've certainly got a camera watching the weld and checking it as it happens and validating it and logging it. And if there is an error where, let's say, for some reason it's skipping this little chunk, they'll know exactly which vehicles were affected, right down to the VIN number. So you can do a recall as small as one car when you catch it, instead of having to say, oh my gosh, we have to inspect welds on 10,000 or 10 million cars. It's able to be tracked. So the automation, it's cheaper, it's more reliable, and robots don't get injured. So that's also a nice improvement.
So we know that the BYD CEO has come out and saying that we have 660,000 employees and we are just not automated in our factories. But in the next clip here we're going to watch, I thought it was fantastic, where the experts basically said that there's a reason why China let Tesla be in there and let Tesla be 100% foreign owned, which is something they've never done before. It's because it lets the other Chinese automakers learn. And so maybe BYD will learn from these processes. But there's some really incredible nuggets that was shared in the next clip here. So let's watch this.
Unlike other multinational companies that come to China to only sell in China, Tesla's Gigafactory in Shanghai eyes the entire global market. It has become a global export hub for the company, whose cars now sell across the Asia Pacific, Europe, and North America. Data shows that the Shanghai facility accounted for more than half of Tesla's global sales in 2022.
It had full intent to bring not only production but also supply chain to China so that they can scale the EV business, so that they can make the EVs more affordable. If you can produce larger volumes, and that can be a benefit for Tesla, not just in China but for the international markets.
And Tesla's chief Elon Musk even had rousing words to say about the facility during a recent visit.
Cars we produce here are not just the most efficient the production, but also the highest quality.
Well, Shanghai's Gigafactory success has convinced many that Tesla's big bet on China was indeed a wise one. But as the first wholly foreign-owned auto manufacturing project in the country, what did China gain from Tesla's investment?
And I took that question to Mr. Sun Xiaohe, the chief of the Finance and Trade Division of the Administrative Committee of the Lingang Special Area. He believes that Tesla's factory in China has somehow managed to empower the development of the advanced manufacturing industry here.
After Tesla entered the Chinese market, our overall new energy battery technology, our new energy vehicle software technology, and the whole car factories have made rapid progress. There is no doubt that Tesla, a foreign-funded enterprise with very strong technical strength, has given us some help. In addition, Tesla has a great role in promoting local employment, as well as the training of blue-collar senior technicians in our country.
In recent years, China has surged ahead in its push towards electric mobility, emerging as the world's largest electric car market. Experts believe that Tesla's entry into China had a role to play in this remarkable EV boom in the country.
Up until 2020, when the Model 3 launched in Shanghai, Chinese consumers were really not that interested in electric vehicles, but once Tesla was here, retail consumer interest really accelerated from 1.2 million new energy vehicles a year to last year 6.9 million. Now that's benefited a lot of Chinese brands as well as Tesla.
Tesla's success in China shows what can be achieved when the world's two largest economies choose to cooperate. The American EV maker seems to understand that better than most, as it's now looking to increase its bet on China even further. Earlier this year, it has announced another new mega factory for Shanghai. This one will be dedicated to the manufacturer of the company's energy storage product, the Megapack. It's exciting times for Shanghai and Tesla, yet with the orders flying it, it's foot to the floor to reach 3 million units as soon as possible. 郑春莹 CGTN Shanghai.
All right. So that Megapack factory in China, Grace Tao confirmed that this is going to go global. They're not just servicing China only. And then there's two big points that I saw there. I want to get your opinion on. The first one was where they spend a lot of time saying that Tesla being in China has benefited China significantly. I think that's so critical because there's a concern that if China doesn't think Tesla is good for them, they're going to kick them out or restrictions so forth. But right now, pretty loud and clear that this is something they see as tremendously beneficial to them. And the second point was it actually, according to the expert, the Tesla's cars kickstarted or made the acceptance of electric vehicles, and now that's why they're moving forward. We know that the Model Y is still the number one best-selling vehicle in China. Any thoughts on that segment?
Oh, for sure. So many thoughts on it. So earlier we were talking about automation, and one advantage Tesla has over a lot of their rivals was they purchased Groman, which was a automation company, a company that makes robots that do complicated tasks like building batteries. They took that expertise, they brought it to China, and in China, it appears they perfected it. And now they're taking it back out of China. Tom Zhu, who the Magi of Shanghai, who turned that place from nothing into the powerhouse that it is now in the US working to make the same changes in the factories here, make them run like the same kind of machine. Let's see. And you'd said that Tesla's pushing the competition ahead. They are. That's absolutely true. We're seeing it in every market. Things that were believed to be impractical or too expensive or impossible are now seen as, well, if they can do it, I guess we can do it too. And you would think that China could just, the claim early on was, oh, the local companies are going to just copy it. They're just going to steal the tech, copy it, and be churning out something half the price a week later. And we've seen that that's just not the case. Tesla does have secret sauce that makes their cars better and more affordable with a positive margin. So they are dragging the rest of the world kicking and screaming while showing consumers these are products you actually want to have. And so, yeah, we've got the back and forth across the ocean between the factories, between the different divisions of the company, and all of it just seems to, so far at least, work, is my thought.
It's absolutely working. So while we were watching that video, your eagle eye caught something very unique and interesting. So you sent me this photo. This is very interesting. So tell me what we're looking at here.
So this is the charge port. We'd seen this years ago. I didn't know it was still in use. What you've got on the right towards the back of the car there is a standard Tesla plug. And the other one is the, what is it called? The GBT plug? GBT, which is the standard 7-pin fast charging and slow charging port in China. So they still have two separate plugs on the Chinese deliveries, which I thought was pretty interesting to see that it's still in use.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com. See, you have eagle eyes. You look at things that I'm looking at something else. I'm looking at the factory.
It was up there it was on there for maybe 5 frames. And I was like, it's still there. It's still there.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So please follow Brian on his YouTube channel, My Tesla Weekend, and you're going to see deeper dives on the factories. Thanks, everybody.